Alright, if you're hunting the next big PS5 obsessions, you're in the right place. These are 10 new games coming in 2026 that people can't stop talking about. Massive worlds, insane combat, and stories that might actually stick with you. So, buckle up. Because by the end of this list, you'll have a few new releases you're genuinely counting down for. Nioh 3. This isn't just another hard game. It's that addictive kind of brutal where every win feels earned. Nioh 3 throws you back into a deadly, myth-soaked Japan, blending razor-fast swordplay with supernatural chaos that keeps you on edge every second. What sets it apart is the combat depth. Stances, timing, and build choices that let you fight your way, and when it clicks, you don't just survive, you dominate. And for your 2026 hype list, Nioh 3 is targeting 2026, so it's one of those releases action fans are already counting down for. Lego Batman: Legacy of the Dark Knight. Gotham's never looked this playful and this dangerous. This isn't just another Lego game. It's a full-on story-led Batman journey where you feel the rise from fearful streets to rooftop legend, but with that signature Lego charm, keeping the darkness from swallowing everything whole. You'll fight your way through Gotham with a smoother combat style that blends quick combos and stealth, then switch gears into pure superhero fantasy. Grappling across rooftops, pulling out classic gadgets like batarangs and the Batclaw, and tearing through the city in iconic rides like the Tumbler. And for your 2026 list, here's the headline: Lego Batman: Legacy of the Dark Knight. Launches May 29th, 2026. A new Batman adventure built brick by brick, yet it still hits like the real thing. Saros. Some games scare you with monsters. Saros scares you with a world that feels wrong, like the planet itself is watching you breathe. You're dropped onto Carcosa, a shape-shifting world trapped under an ominous eclipse. And from the first step, you can tell this isn't a place you clear. It's a place you endure. You play as Arjun Devraj, a Soltari enforcer who's not chasing glory. He's chasing answers. And that's what makes Saros hit different. It isn't just fast shooting and spectacle. It's a character-driven descent where every run feels like another scar, another clue, another step closer to the truth. Or further into obsession. Housemarque's combat is still that signature bullet ballet chaos. Tight movement, split-second dodges, and fights that demand your full attention. But Saros separates itself from the usual roguelike loop with a permanent progression. Even when you fall, you don't feel erased. You come back changed, stronger, smarter, carrying upgrades and loadout choices that make each attempt feel like real forward motion, not a reset button. And for your 2026 games everyone's talking about list, this is key. Saros is set to launch in April 2026 on PlayStation 5, and it already has that rare vibe. Like the kind of game people won't just finish, or they'll talk about for months after the credits roll. Control Resonant. If the first game felt like a haunted office building that wanted you dead, this one blows the doors open. Control Resonant drops you into a warped Manhattan where reality bends, gravity lies, and the city feels infected by forces you can't reason with. Only survive. You play as Dylan Faden, finally out of containment and thrown straight into a paranatural catastrophe. It's not just about shooting your way through the madness either. This sequel leans harder into action RPG freedom. Build your powers, make choices that shape how Dylan evolves, and wield a brutal, shape-shifting melee weapon that turns every fight into something personal. And the best part for your list, it's coming in 2026, and it already feels like the kind of weird, cinematic, mind-melting PS5 game everyone's going to be talking about. 007 First Light. If you've ever wondered what James Bond looked like before the tux, the confidence, and the license to kill, this is that story. 007 First Light puts you in the shoes of a younger, sharper-edged Bond. Still brilliant, still bold, but not fully formed yet. Working his way through MY6 training and learning what it really takes to earn the number. What makes it stand out is the mix. It's a third-person, story-driven action-adventure where you can lean into stealth, move like a ghost, or go loud when the mission collapses into chaos. Often using classic spy gadgets and even getting behind the wheel when the pressure hits. And here's the part that matters for your 2026 list. 007. First Light is set to arrive in 2026, meaning it's one of those upcoming PS5 games people are already watching closely. Because it's not just another action title, it's Bond's origin told with that cinematic globe-trotting spy energy. It's also not just Bond doing Bond things, it's watching him become Bond. Meeting familiar faces like MQ and Moneypenny, making risky calls and living with the consequences when a plan goes wrong. By the end, you're not playing a legend, you're building one. Pragmata. This is the kind of sci-fi game that feels lonely in the best way. Cold metal halls, a silent moon, and that uneasy sense that something is watching you from behind the lights. You play as Hugh, an astronaut trying to survive an abandoned lunar research facility, but you're not alone. Diana, an android girl with a mind sharper than any weapon, becomes your lifeline. What makes Pragmata different is the teamwork. You're not just shooting robots, you're outsmarting them. While Hugh fights to stay alive, Diana hacks enemy systems mid-combat, turning fights into a tense mix of action and quick-thinking strategy. It feels like a real partnership, not a sidekick gimmick. And for your 2026 lineup, it belongs here. Pragmata launches on April 24th, 2026. And it looks like one of those games that sticks in your head long after you put the controller down. Tomb Raider, Legacy of Atlantis. This feels like classic Lara Croft energy. Mystery first, danger second, and that quiet moment where you realize you're standing on the edge of something the world was never meant to find. In Legacy of Atlantis, the hook isn't just another lost city. It's the idea that Atlantis isn't a myth, it's a warning. You're chasing clues through collapsing ruins, ancient mechanisms that still breathe, and traps that don't feel random. They feel engineered to test you. What makes it hit different is the tone. More isolation, more discovery, more I shouldn't be here. And when the action explodes, it's earned. Think tight exploration, puzzle solving that makes you feel smart, and set pieces where one mistake turns an excavation into a free fall. And if it does land in 2026 like fans expect, this could be the Tomb Raider adventure that brings back that pure, heart-racing wonder, where every door you open might change everything. Phantom Blade Zero. This is the kind of game that doesn't just look cool, it moves cool. The moment combat starts, it feels like you're inside a brutal martial arts movie, where every slash, parry, and step matters. It's fast, sharp, and stylish, but never weightless. What sets Phantom Blade Zero apart is its Kung Fu Punk vibe, a dark, twisted world where elegance and violence collide. You're not just mashing attacks, you're reading the enemy, baiting a strike, then snapping back with a clean counter that feels like a perfect line of choreography. When you get the timing right, it's not just a win, it's a statement. And the game's energy is different from typical action titles. It's flashy, yes, but there's tension under it. Like every fight is a test you might not pass, and every victory is something you had to take. If you're making a games everyone's talking about for 2026 video, this belongs in it. Because it has that rare mix of spectacle and skill that people replay, clip, and argue about for months. Onimusha, Way of the Sword. This is the kind of comeback that feels like a blade finally finding its edge again. You're thrown into an Edo-era Kyoto twisted by supernatural malice, where the air looks poisonous and every hallway feels like it's hiding something that shouldn't exist. What makes it different isn't just the setting, it's the weight of the combat. Steel clashes, parries snap at the last second, and fights aren't about spamming hits. They're about reading your enemy and answering with one perfect cut. Then there's the Oni Gauntlet. You're not just surviving the Genma, you're harvesting their souls, turning danger into power and momentum into upgrades. And the vibe? Pure cinematic samurai horror. Bloody, stylish, and tense without feeling like an endless punishment simulator. If you want a story-driven action game that feels old school in spirit but modern in movement, this is it. And yes, it's coming in 2026, so it belongs right in the center of that everyone's talking about list. Crimson Desert. This isn't just another open-world fantasy. Crimson Desert feels like you're living inside a war-torn epic. Mud, steel, betrayal, and those wide landscapes that make you stop for a second. Then remind you the world is trying to kill you. You play as Cliff, a mercenary leader pulled into a collapsing continent where politics and bloodshed hit just as hard as the monsters. What makes it stand out is the scale and variety. Intense melee brawls, ranged fights, brutal bosses encounters, and moments of quiet exploration that suddenly explode into chaos. And if you're building a 2026 hype list, this one belongs, because whenever Crimson Desert finally lands, it's the kind of game people won't just play, they'll sink into.